Okay, let me introduce myself first. My name is Queeneth Uti. I'm the community manager of Gokardainal, and we are here to talk about travels, all the wahala that comes with bookings, logistics, hotels, everything that has to do with travel, business travels. I have here with me Mr. Collins. I usually introduce him as a seasoned traveler, but he doesn't want to accept it. So, Mr.
Yeah, I think
Collins,
you should be introducing me like that.
so please
Once
introduce
I have
yourself
full
to
passports
the.
filled up, fully stamped everywhere, once I probably cross um 30 countries, right? You can now start using that nomenclature.
I'm seeing you. I'm seeing the future.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well.
Okay, so let's share. Maybe vent a little about the problems that comes with travels. Um, I promise this won't be your typical dry logistic talk. This will be a little ginger and laughter all the way. Um, so I have a question for the audience while we wait for our guest speaker. I'm still not seeing her here yet. I think she just sent me a message. Okay, that's not her. So let's go on.
I think you should drop a message for her on WhatsApp as well.
I have.
Oh, okay.
I have. I have. I've sent another one. Okay. So, question for the audience. I know in our midst there might be operational teams here, HRO, admin, virtual assistants, and so on. How do you handle okay, for example, your boss sent you a message around 6 a.m. and that you should book a flight for him and he needs to leave before 9 a.m. that same day. How do you handle that kind of stress? I want to hear from the audience, please. We have Timmy, we have Feyi, we have Lily Swiss, we have Timmy Lola, we have Classic. Please, anyone? I know some of us love to travel. Real Suru just joined. Hello, Real Suru, welcome. Okay, Faith just joined. I've seen her, but I can't add her. Okay. I've accepted her request to join. Please, who else is seeing two people on the screen? Because I'm only seeing myself and not Mr. Collins.
I think it's from your end because I can see beautiful faces here.
End.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi,
Faith. Welcome.
Hi.
How am I not seeing you guys' face? This is so unfair.
You can't see my face.
I can't see any face. It's just my face looking at me.
Well, I can see you guys.
Yeah, I can see you very clear. I can see everybody actually.
Yeah.
This is not
so
fair.
It's from your end.
I think it's from
your end, Queeneth.
This happened last time until you had to log back in again before I could see your face.
And I'm not doing that this time around.
No, please don't. Okay, so we have our guest speaker. Her name is Faith Akpotegwa. Hope I'm correct.
That was smooth. How did you get it? Yeah, right.
I'm not able to pronounce it well still.
Practicing. Right.
Okay. So she works with HR manager. She works as a HR manager and she manages administrative operations and at a financial service firm. So please tell us more about yourself, Miss Faith.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Faith. As you said, I work in human capital management and I oversee administrative operations at a financial services firm. Basically, my role oversees everything regarding travel planning, ensuring smooth logistics for both local and international trips. I'm excited to be part of this conversation today because I think travel logistics is one of those behind the scenes function that can either make or break an employee's experience, especially in business travel. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Okay. So someone answered the question that was thrown to the floor earlier. Faye answered that question. She said, okay, before you came, Faith, let me rephrase that. I asked a question,
Okay.
like, for example, your boss sent you a message at 6 a.m. in the morning asking you to book a flight for him and he needs to leave before 9 a.m. that same day, that same morning. How do you handle that stress and that urgency? So Faye answered, she said, Kemi answered, she said, we find available options for the clients and deal with the stress later. Our
Yeah.
client satisfaction is our priority. That's cool. That's smooth. Okay.
Of course.
Can I just jump in on that actually?
Okay.
Just to speak a bit. You know, it's quite easy to say we just find an option for the client, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then it's not that easy
Mm-hmm.
because I've been in situations where, okay, this is the option that I'm seeing, I'm sending it, and that person is telling you, which airline is this? I don't want this
I
airline.
know
And it
exactly.
becomes and then you see that it's a whole different discussion, especially when it comes to business travel, because it deals with a lot of personalization. People want what they want, and they
Yeah.
want you to get that thing for them. So it's not that easy, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Because there's at times I'm sure Collins know there are a few flights that we are a no-no about. But at the time when you say, oh, these are the flights available, what do you then do? Because the airlines that you would normally use are not available. But at that time, you just make do with what's available. But and like the person that answered the question said, you deal with the stress later. But yeah, especially when it's an important trip, right? So what would you do?
Okay. So, okay, someone else answered again. Lily Switch. She said, stay calm to avoid making mistakes. Do a quick research and compare options to choose the best and understand the client's needs and align with it and reach an agreement.
Between 6 to 9 a.m., 6 a.m.
That
to
would be a
9
very
a.m.
difficult one.
That's a very tight timeline. Like, yeah, but
So let's jump into the Wahala softly. First question. This section is basically for travel logistics and realities. We'll go to other sections later, but the first question here goes like this. What common mistakes or oversights tend to cause the biggest issues during business trips? Is it wrong flights, no hotel bookings, or your oga or boss telling you the last minute, book my ticket, I have a meeting in maybe Zanzibar or Kenya right now?
um
Did I rephrase that?
no. So I got the I think the biggest issue, right, is with last minute because with last minute, you are rushing to get everything sorted. You're rushing to get flights, you're rushing to get hotel accommodation, especially when you don't have standing agreements with, let's say, an hotel that your boss would normally use, right? So then you're sourcing for hotels. And what if it's for a conference that, for instance, the trip is to Abuja for a conference and most of the hotels will be booked, right? So last minute usually brings a lot of issues alongside. So you are trying to get flights, you're trying, for instance, the person you're trying to get a ticket for only flies business, and business is fully booked. There is no business seat. So there are a lot of issues, right? You would face with last minute requests. And I think another issue is when you don't have full details with the trip for the trip that you're planning for. Let's say you get a request and it's saying, oh, book me whatever to so place, right? But you don't have full details of how long you're going to stay, you're not asking the right questions. All of that can just make the entire trip a nightmare. Let me say that, right? So I think for me, biggest issues are last minute requests and when you don't have full details for the trip that you're planning for.
Okay. So we have the second question that goes like this. Um, let me ask the audience this one. We have a few people here, and I know some of them know a little bit about travel. Some of them are virtual assistants and all. What are your travel hacks or the best practice that have saved you or your company money or migraine headache? I'm asking the floor right now, but Mr. Collins and maybe Faith can also chip in on this one too.
Travel hack. Oh, let me go first. Okay. No, when it comes to hack, sometimes we think hack in travel as something that is mechanical, right? So I've heard say stuff like if you book tickets so day, it would be cheaper just because of what people are saying. If you book in the night, if you book by this time, it would be cheaper. If you book on Tuesdays, I think I've heard the one of Tuesday. If you book flights on Tuesdays, it would be cheaper, right? And the truth is, why that can be why that can work for some people, or it can be true at some point. It's not always true, right? Because for every particular seat that is selling for airlines, it's based on this available seat at that point. So if you are booking and the cheaper seats are available, you would basically get the cheaper seats. Then also, for some people, they would tell you that they would rather not book until when they get to the airport. That they, sometimes when they get to the airport, they buy it cheaper or something like that. And I would just laugh because the truth is, what if you get to the airport and you're not even able to get at that point? It becomes a challenge, and then all the wahala and everything with airport people. Some people would complain that the airline will now inflate it for you. So many things can happen. But for me, when it comes to hack, I would say one is booking on time. Faith made mention about last minute booking, and you can't even oversay you can't mention it too much. Most travel, especially when it comes to business trips, should be planned. I get sometimes you can have impromptu trips, right? It happens, but then it shouldn't be the order of the day. There should be like a system in place. There should be a way you set things to happen. There was a time I was helping a company to design their travel policy, and when I was telling them, okay, can we make it every trip should have like a 3 weeks notice period, the person shouted, how is it
3 weeks.
possible? And the truth is, if you're trying to save costs, you have to make it possible, right? Because if you don't make it a standard process, it's not a system, a process that everybody should try as much as possible to standardize within an organization, you can't save money. And that is standing at the top of the travel hack. Then again, people don't actually make use of their loyalty programs, right? Almost every airline, they have loyalty programs, right? Domestic side, EBOM, EPIS, ARIC, all of them, they all have loyalty programs. International, the same thing. But that research has shown that even not up to 50% of travelers actually use their loyalty points. So many people don't even have a loyalty account created for them for their frequent flying or frequent airlines. And then you are losing when you are flying every day. So people fly A-bomb Air almost every week, but they don't have a A-bomb flyer program. And these are strategies that if you try to institute within your organization, if you have an airline you fly often, create a flyer program for that, so that you build out your mileage points, and at some point you can even have free tickets or discounted ticket based on the fact that you already have a program with that airline. That's another fact that so many people overlook. Then you now go deeper into, this time around, even hotels. Hotels, they all have their flyer user loyalty programs, right? Hotels, car companies, all of them, they all have their loyalty programs. You just need to find a way to spread it across. Then you now look at platforms that bundle it for you, because the truth is, bundled products save money than when you're buying it individually, right? Sometimes it's okay to search so many places, but then if you bundle it, you can easily negotiate out from that bundled package. So I think these are just three parts that I would just want to mention. They are not hacks, but they are ideas or strategies that people tend to overlook when it comes to travel.
Okay. Good. Faith, do you have anything to add? Or I should just go on?
I think I will just write on the back of what colleagues have said. And I think when it comes to like loyalty programs, right? A lot of people just assume it's when it's for international flights and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people and say, oh, my BA miles, my this and all of that. But when it comes to like the local airlines, a lot of people are not maximizing those benefits as well. And I think one thing I was going to add is one of the hacks or practices that helps me is having a process that works. So when it comes to travel, it's not haphazard. There's a certain standard of how it's being done. Because when you request, actually, when I'm not talking about late request and all of that, like standard requests where you have ample time to plan the trips, there is a lot of planning that is being done, and that saves a lot of like you're not stressing, you're getting responses on time, everything is going in due process, and it just works when there's a standard process on how travel works, especially when it comes to business travel. Because for personal trips, it's really up to you. You can decide to want to stress yourself and want to fly that same day. But when it comes to when it comes to business travel, like process, plan, time, very essential. Because if you have like a lot of things, just have the process down, standard plan, and you're good to go for business travels.
Okay. Thank you very much. So the next question, I think this is for you, Faith. Okay, it goes this way. Do you get involved in post-travel tasks like expense reconciling or getting feedback? Or do you just pretend you didn't see that 200K receipt from dinner with clients?
That's even not possible, because I'm going to reconcile expenses. And I think I heard maybe I think the last um session you guys had, Collins had mentioned something about one receipt can make you lose your job or something like that. So
Yeah.
expense reconciliation is very, very, very important, right? So planning and everything, it doesn't end at just planning the trip and the person has gone, right? When the person comes back, you have to check and balance. What did you do that is outside of our budgets, our expense? And then as well, you're asking for feedback. The flight, how was it? And it's not even just when the person comes back. What we normally do is when an employee travels, there's good, are you good? How was the flight? Usually do car rentals and all of that. How was the car, the driver? So those feedbacks, they are essential to planning the next one. Do we use the same airline? Are we changing our vendor? Things like that. So very, very essential. You're not overlooking any expense. And sometimes you have to reimburse employees because there will be expenses that would have been, that they will do out of pocket that wasn't planned for. So it's very, very essential to do express reconciliation after the trip.
Okay. So, Colin, do you have anything to add before we go ahead?
Okay, I think she already mentioned so many things. When it comes to travel and expense, especially if you are looking at it from the business travel perspective, right? You can't do this against this. They have to be going together, right? As an individual, you can decide to go on a trip, and for you, it's just you've paid for the flight, you've boarded your flight, you come back. If you arrive, you probably take a boat or anything to where you are going. That's for individuals. You are not even tracking this. If some people do, I do track mine as well, anyways. But when it comes to business travel, it's a different thing because every travel needs to be accounted for, right? Even sometimes when you have you are doing maybe your audits, annual audits, you would see your audit and so many other things just to clear the air. So you see that it is very important that every trip is accounted for. Everything about that travel, it's accounted for. Per diem, so many things. Even down to when the person is doing a change. Okay, you booked a flight and you also accounted for. And when you are invoicing it, when you are reporting to the finance department, it is clear to understand. And that is why it's very important. If possible, I advocate for a system that automates this entire flow. Do it on a spreadsheet. I'm an Excel guru, but then it doesn't just end with being an Excel guru, right? It can get too much. A company can grow overnight, and you now start looking at, okay, what other platform or what other system would I set in place so that I don't lose any money? Like I mentioned, one invoice or one receipt can be the reason why you lost your job. So it's important to keep track of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So we're going to section 2, visa policies, ethics, and company expectations. Now let's get into the extra wahala, the one you didn't cause, but you have to clean up. Okay, like we all know, visa policy changes are everywhere. The UAE, USA, our own Niger. One day your traveler is clear to go. The next day immigration says, Oga, wait. How has this all impacted your job at Faith?
Well, I'm sure Collins knows a lot of like the back and forth, the back and forth with visa processing. Like it's a lot. Like
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
know that
yes.
I'm like only the thought of it is stressing me out. Like just
Yeah.
thinking about it's stressing me out.
The stress. Visa can be the hardest part of travel planning. That
Exactly.
if there is need for it to be removed completely, I believe 80% of people will just be happy. Not
Yeah.
because of the cost or the fact that you might be denied or anything, but
Mhm.
just thinking about it. How do I even go about this process? It can be nerve-wracking that you don't even want to think about it,
I'm
actually.
telling you,
And,
like
but honestly, I think there has been some improvements, right? 2
really.
months. Yeah. Actually, like Kenya,
Mm.
right? Has
Yeah, I read that
Kenya,
somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Kenya has been easier, but then they
Mm.
are trying to move it completely. As a Nigerian, you can easily just get your
Yeah.
tickets just for
Yes.
a while, and then USA
Oh,
is much as they are making it look bad. I think it's getting easier for the people doing the visa application, right? It's just that for the end user, the people, the
but it's the
passengers,
end
the
users that is the cocoa now because
important
Yes.
part.
yeah, because I know I've been trying to US, I've been trying to get the appointment first off was a problem. And then they moved
Yeah,
portals. That was another issue. Then now start looking for the details and matching it with the DS ones,
yeah.
another issue. Getting appointments, another issue. It's just been from one thing.
Okay.
I think we
So
lost, right?
Oh, I thought she was done. I've not seen anything, so I just
No, I
think.
lost time for the network. So just to continue from where she stopped, because
Okay.
we are always at that loggerhead anytime she would probably would be thinking about visas and the likes. There has been it's quite difficult when it comes to visa planning, but then I feel it is what it is. Diplomatic relation in this country is quite it's quite not on the bright side. So it can be difficult trying to say things would get better as a Nigerian, but we just have to take it the way it is. Dubai now, if you present the the requirement for a Nigerian to get a Dubai visa, you would see that 80% of Nigerians are already removed from that,
Mm.
right? And that case for so many other countries. But we are still seeing improvements in quite a few, especially within Africa. And I feel that is what we should be advocating for. If
Mm.
Africans can actually work within ourselves to make movement within Africa easy, at least we can start from there and then we can now start expanding to other continents.
Oh, is she back?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that, my network.
All right. Welcome back. Okay, so this one is trending. Second question is trending. Some companies are trying to be more ethical and sustainable with their travel policies. So maybe less flying, more Zoom. Do you think this should be part of your job as a travel admin, or it's one of those nice to have things nobody really follows?
Well, I think it's been happening, it's been coming up of recent, and it's not a new thing. But I feel like people are now more aware of
Of it.
what it, yeah, more aware of what it means to be a sustainable like travel and all of that. So I think it really depends. You cannot move all meetings to Zoom. It's not
Exactly.
possible. There are some important engagements that require face to face, and Zoom will not just cut it, or Teams or whatever. It won't cut it. But I think what companies should start looking at is, and maybe they're not really seeing it yet, but I feel like it's coming along. Quite a number of people are already looking at it. Like, you can't have people traveling back to back, like back to back, for no reason. That does, like, we understand that the meeting you need to go, but is it that important? That's the questions that we need to start asking. And I think when it comes to being a sustainable company regarding how your employees fly and all of that, a lot of people have also, I think one of the, because I think I saw someone on it somewhere, and there was a conversation regarding how you don't need so much layovers because of carbon emissions and all of that. Is that really the reason, or we're just trying to cut costs? Like, sometimes it's not really, yeah, it's not really about whether we're
Yeah.
watching on emissions. It's like we're trying to cut costs because that will give. Do you get? So I
You know,
think,
no,
yeah.
continue. I was just trying to say something that that piqued my interest a bit about Africans
Mm.
and dropping it down a bit. Nigerians, our awareness to sustainability when it comes to, in fact, in every aspect,
General,
this and sustainable that. For us in Africa, it's not about the sustainable part; it's about the cost.
yeah.
Maybe
Uh,
another continent, because I've been in situations and calls where people are talking about, oh, we have to go for eco-friendly accommodations, we have to go for eco-friendly flights. Yes, I've seen that. I've
but
seen
what's
instances.
that in Nigeria? Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
rather do train or fly, just because they want to save the atmosphere, the environment, and they are very conscious of that. But here in Nigeria, that is not the case, or we've not gotten to that point where people are very conscious of the environment or sustainable activities. Though
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of companies pushing awareness around there, and I sincerely hope we'll get to that point,
it, it
right?
it definitely has to even start from the mindset. Like, number one, how many hotels are economic friendly? Like, how many hotels are really taking sustainability serious? That's one. So by the time you're now looking for hotels that are doing it, how many are they, right? And
True.
what's the cost? all of all those things will play in how a company will say, okay, this is how we want to move forward with travel, on being very compliant in this regard, right?
Yeah.
And I think another thing is it's not really a Nigerian thing, to be honest. It's not in our climate yet, even though people are trying to step in to say, oh, how are we going to make this? And the thing, I understand a lot of companies are really now trying to be very sustainable in the things they do regarding the environment and all of that, but it's not a big thing yet. And more so when you now talk about travel, it's not a big thing, but I believe we're getting there. Abuse.
They are very good. Go to Kenya, actually. Kenya, they have this, I think they are more aware and they have conversations around eco-tourist sites and eco-activities,
Hmm.
unlike Nigeria. And you'll be shocked at the number of, if I would call one, and many of us might not even know that they are eco-tourist attraction. The one in Cross Rivers, Obudukato Ranch, right? Over
Oh,
there, you would see that, yes. The thing is that we don't even have knowledge about these things
mm,
and the providers are not passing the right message.
mm,
There are quite a number of them that they are playing in that sector, or that industry, or that market, but their
mm,
messaging will not be done right, and it will not
mm,
look as if we don't have that interest. But the truth is, if the message is being passed the right way, I believe a few people might want to patronize them just because of that particular message. Oh, they are trying to save the atmosphere. We are able to.
mm.
I believe a few people might be interested, actually.
Well, we'll get there.
Yes, we will. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Collins and Faith. So the next one is the last one actually. It says spending, visibility, and the future of travel.
Mm.
So let's round this section up with some deep fun and a few questions. Do you feel like you truly know how much your company is spending or saving on travel? Or is it giving black hole where tickets are booked and received? Vanish like jollof rice at the pot. Do you feel like
Well,
you truly know how much your company is spending on or saving on travels?
I,
Or is
I,
it just
I
vanishing like the jollof rice?
no, I would say that attention is divided. Sorry. I would say that yes, I do to a large extent, right? Because it's part of the job. It's part of the role. You cannot say that you cannot say you are, what's the word? You're managing something and you don't know the ins and outs of it, right? Because,
Yes.
like I said, planning and all of that with travel, you have to know how much you're spending. What when you're getting feedback, have to know, okay, the cost of this, is it really value adding to the company? So at the end of the day, how much we're spending, how much is being saved, to a large extent, yes, I would say that I'm aware of the expense as regards travel. And that really kind of helps with budgeting, because if I don't know how much we spend for the year, how do I plan for next year? There may be some, there may, does any, I don't think anyone even, like the bulk of travel expense, I'm aware of. I would say I have good visibility of the travel expense.
Okay.
I have a
According
question, Faith.
to
Yeah, I just have a question. It's something that has been bothering me, especially when it comes to corporate travel, right? Um, Before now, I know one company that in the beginning of the year they would tell me, "Oh, this is our annual travel budget."
Mm-hmm.
Travel budget we look for in a year, right? And then we can maybe quarterly or biannually we'll send a report. This was the budget you mentioned, and this is what you've done so far, and this is what is remaining. It's almost like it's keeping them aware of where they are, the situation
Mm-hmm.
of their budget and all. Why did it stop? Because the truth is, this used to happen pre-COVID, but
Mm-hmm.
now I've not had something like that happen. So what do you think happened, or what do you think?
Why they stop sharing that?
Yeah.
Well, I can't say really, but it will probably be maybe because they are trying to not. I can't really say honestly, but let me look at it from here, right? If we were in that shoes, like if we're doing it and then we had to stop, what would be the reason for us to stop? It would probably be maybe the budget became too small and there was no need for the communication, or either there was no travel. That would probably be the reason. But I doubt that would be the reason to stop sharing the budget, and it's not possible that the company is not traveling anymore.
Do you even feel that companies they do have like an annual budget at the beginning of the year again?
No, 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 no.
Because
For
some
sure, there's
companies
always
don't
a
even
budget.
have budget stuff like this again, right?
No, there's a budget for sure. Well,
Okay.
standard structured organizations have budgets for literally everything. So there's no way, if you are standard and you are structured and you are compliant with so many audit rules and regulations and all of that,
Yeah.
you definitely would have a budget, and it would have your budget will also comprise of a travel budget. So I don't
Yeah.
think that is either they just decided to stop doing that and say, oh, let's keep our budget within us for travel. Whether we maximize it or we do less is really none of anybody's business but our
Is
business. But I
right.
think probably maybe that's it.
Okay, I think that's a conversation I would have to probably find a way to do a research around that because it was quite easier then. I felt, or I feel, right? You have that, and you are always aware of where you are and how much you spend, and now it just stopped, right? Anyway, it's a conversation that I would bring up one day with a few other travel professionals to see what's happened.
Maybe they just want that information to be internal. It's
Yeah.
possible. Yeah, maybe they just want to make it internal information and not, yeah, because I believe they'll be tracking their expenses by themselves.
What if what if the company has these expenses all planned out and at the end of the day it doesn't go, as in they exceed, like way exceed the budget? How would they still do that again the next section or the next month? Or let's say they do that monthly or annually? Because some company will just be like, let's craft
This my network.
funds to somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's with Queeneth also, but just to respond to what she was saying, right? It's a budget. It's a budget, and the idea is that it can never be correct. It
Mm-hmm.
can be lesser, higher, provided
Yeah,
that they say this is a budget. It can be lesser, it can be higher. But the truth is,
rather be less
is very
and not higher.
important. Yes, it's very important to have that as a budget because it keeps you in check so
Mm-hmm.
that you know what you are doing and then you can
All
track
right.
it.
Question from our audience. Okay, she's back. She's here. A little question for our audience. I asked a question. I don't know if you got the question before I was logged out.
No,
No.
just come again.
I asked a question. You guys spoke about spending and budgeting for company travel expenses and all. So I asked a question. I said, what if a company actually
Okay.
makes this budget for a year, or let's say they do monthly budget, and at the end of the month, they exceed this budget way beyond what they planned or estimated? Would this company, let's say, for example, Faith, would your company or would your boss still want to go ahead in making these budget plans, or they will scratch the travel plans entirely and just limit it to a particular person, or just to save?
So is the travel bringing us money? That's the question. If it's not bringing us money, why are we traveling, right? So
True.
I think
People like data.
the most important question is it bringing us money? And because I know that for this year, right, my organization, the travel has been a lot. Like compared to last year, we've been moving. Like we actually have been moving. And it's not even like, so I understand that if we didn't probably make a lot of allowance for the cost of travel for this year, we would have probably exceeded our budget for this year. But I know for the travels we've been making, they are so important. So we can't even say if we overshot our budget for maybe like an extra 10 million or whatever, we would say, oh, don't travel for that. No, is the question is it important? Is it value adding? Is it bringing us money? If it's bringing us money, obviously the overshooting of the budget will be compensated for when you look into your at the end of the year, when you look into your books and you know that how much you've made. So at the end of the day, the the thing about it is that, are we making money for this travel? If we if the case is that, oh, we're traveling and there's no returns, everybody will have to sit down. We'll have to sit down and relook at it, like, why are we spending so much money when we don't have money coming in? So yeah, at the end of the day is checking if it's bringing us money or not. Yeah.
Okay. Anything to add?
I think I was responding to that before Instagram rudely removed me. So it's just like I was saying there, it's a budget, and the idea of budget is there is room for it to be surpassed, and sometimes it can be lesser. But just like Faith mentioned, every travel should be value adding, right?
Yeah.
There should be a return on investment, and you can always calculate this return on investment probably at the end of the month or after the travel, depending on what works for your company, right? But there is need to always peg a return on investment to every travel, so that way you know that for if you spent probably 100,000 on this particular trip, you are expecting probably ₦1 million as a return on investment after that trip. It's
Yeah.
important to peg it that way.
Okay. Okay, so the second question. Now let's get techy to Mr. Collins. What part of the travel process would you love? Goes to you to Faith. What part of your travel process would you love to automate?
Mm.
Flight booking, expense reports, repeating yourself 10 times about visa deadlines. And what do you think should always remain human? Like, what do you think should always remain sane in all this?
Should I?
Okay,
Did you hear
okay, let
me?
me go first. Then after me, the Faith will go.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, if I am going to be myself, like trying to be selfish, I would say, why is it that you would see so many of these booking systems, but you rarely see where you can actually make visa or automate visa process, right? So I don't do the hard work of visiting embassies and the likes. Just the way I can easily go online and on Kenya visa portal and do this. Is there a way that I can connect every embassy onto one platform? So if I'm going for Kenya, I will just click on Kenya and I'm applying for Kenya. If I'm doing US, I click on that and I'm applying for that, right? So you would see that it's easier than moving from one portal to the other.
Yeah.
USA, I think the portal is not, I don't think I know. The portal for doing appointments is
Appointment
different from the portal you are
applying.
imputing all the application. I think the same thing for Schengen visas, right?
Yeah.
The portal for appointments is different from this. Now Schengen is even larger because so many Schengen countries would have different portal for theirs. So it's just too much. So if you are able to automate all the visas onto one platform, I think it would be very, very interesting for me. But then I know how difficult that can be. Then moving from that, I would also add um, the idea of knowing your return on investment on every trip, if it's automated, I think is also a game changer, right? Sometimes people travel and it's just money. Oh, this money has been spent, right? You can judge that probably at the end of the year. You now check how much do we make as our return on investment last year, how much are we making this year, and they will just use that to confirm if there is growth or not. You get, but then there are some other activities. How do you now confirm that this extra money made or this lesser money made? How many of them? How do you factor travel into the entire flow, right? So just the way if the sales team are out in the field, when they come back, they know their target and how much their effort has returned for the business. Is there a way we can actually calculate return on investment in real time with every travel? So if there's a way that can also be automated, I feel it would make a huge difference for businesses.
Okay, Faith, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I agree with Collins, and I actually see where it's coming from with ROI on travel. I think with that, it will be really clear to see that, oh, we're not just spending money, because everything about business essentially, and when you are in a cost generating part of, or expense generating part of the organization, the company wants to see this money you're spending. How is it helping us, right? You come and say, oh, this is how much you need, blah 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 blah, how much. And if there is a system that in real time we're saying that, oh, when we spend this money on travel, this is what we're most likely to get back in return, and all of that, I think that would be very helpful. And I know that there are a couple of platforms that help with like automating your travel requests. You're seeing how much you're spending. I know the Cardinal platform does that, like how much you are spending, how much when you want to place a request, there is a you can see the flights available, things like that. But we cannot really take the human side out of this process. No matter how much we want to automate it, we can't take the human side, because it's not AI or it's not a bot that will be checking up on who has traveled. Well, maybe we'll get there in the future, but
You will.
yeah, we'll get there in the future, but still, even though it's a bot that is calling you, it's a different thing from when you're hearing from someone that you're very familiar with, someone you're familiar with at the office, checking, oh, have you gotten to where you're going to? How's the hotel? Are you comfortable? And things like that. So that part of, like, that human aspect of it cannot be replaced. But if every other task regarding travel can be replaced, please sign me up. Every other thing, sign me up for it, because it can be tiring sometimes. So yeah,
Can.
but
To ease your stress, Abby.
I'm telling you, but the good side of it is when you have reliable partnership, like with Cardinal, when you have reliable partnership, it's easy, because your travel requests, everything is just smoothly done, and all of that. Response time is very good. Like, so it relieves the stress, but to some extent, right, when you're not dealing with the internal factors, right, is another case entirely. But I think basically that works. So
Okay. So someone replied on the comment section, Mrs. Dami Fab. She said visa application should be automated.
yeah, because it's not easy. Like, you should get to
Easy.
a port and say, oh, this is, I want to apply for Canada.
Not for
Application,
anything again.
yeah, application, appointments, everything. You're just seeing everything there. You're not going, like, it's so stressful. So stressful.
Okay. So before we take the last question, Mr. Kali, you want to say something?
No. I think I've quite enough.
Okay. Before we take the last question, let me throw this to the audience. Um, okay. Let's take this scenario for example. We let's say when ticket prices rise, or let me use example, the way pure water rises, the price of pure water rises every day now, because it's funny how the price of pure water can just increase. So let's say with let's ticket prices are increasing, and you are to book a flight, or you should, how do I put it? Okay, with ticket prices rising, like what example should I use? The prices are increasing on your ticket prices, and some people say we should cancel work travel altogether. Let's say in your office you're all agreeing or you're still deliberating on canceling the travel expenses or anything. Just cancel it and no more travel in the company. Would you agree? This is to the audience, people watching us. Do you agree that your business travel plans should be cancelled, or is business travel still worth it at the high cost? Like, do you still want your company to go ahead with the business travel? I'm speaking to the admins, the people in the comment sessions that are into traveling, that have those travels and so on. So why this question? We're waiting for the answer to these questions. Let me throw the last one to you guys. If you could build your dream travel system like GoKardinal, what would be the first thing you put inside it?
What will be the first thing I'll
like,
put aside?
like, what would you include if, let's say, your travel system is GoKardinal?
Hmm.
Design it. What would you include?
Hmm.
But it's not there already, though.
What would I include? Uh, I think it's a way to incorporate it into the ecosystem of the company, for instance. Say, see, Collins is doing.
I heard that.
I think,
Ah,
yeah, because having to
that's
that,
deep.
I know that having to, I don't want to term it as being the middle person, but for instance, there's to have that seamless flow of travel requests from employees to getting everything sorted. I think having to infuse it into like, for instance, I think we have a HRIS that we use. There's a travel part of it, but it ends at approval. But what if there was a system that kind of links it, and from approval it just goes directly to GoKardinal? So there's a kind of sync between the system that we currently use for employees and GoKardinal system for travel. So the whole idea of once the approval has been made, GoKardinal gets that, oh, um, this request has been made by partner. See, it cuts away those emails or WhatsApp, and to me, that's what I feel would help, because sometimes it's not even about the response time. Sometimes you are trying to get an employee to say, okay, these are the available flights, right? Which do you want to go for? Like, which is suitable for your travel time and all of that. And the person is taking like 24 hours or whatever to respond. And you're on time to say, oh, the seats are selling fast. Like, you need to actually respond on time so that we get the seat that you're get the ticket that you're requesting for, or however. So I think that would really help, because yeah, it cuts off a lot of process. It cuts off a number of process. So that would help. So me, yeah, something that links employee system to GoKardinal.
That is actually very deep, honestly. Like, it hits every nerve, like everything in the brain was like, oh, this is actually very important, right?
Mm.
Um, and the truth is, it doesn't end with even the HRMS that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
down to even the accounting that we are just talking about, right?
Oh.
Because when it comes to business travel, there's a lot of fragmentation.
Mm-hmm.
The booking, the HRMS is not connected to the Sage or whatever accounting tools that businesses are
Yeah.
using. Supply chain platforms are different from this. Is there a way everything is now connected so that if you are okay, you are working in this company and you are using the HRMS like you mentioned, you
Mm-hmm.
have authority to the functions that are
Mm-hmm.
pertaining to your job, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you don't. Every company, everything is within one ecosystem, just like you used, right?
Mm.
I think that would actually make a whole that we can do in that aspect, right? I think it's something that we have to go deeper and have a conversation about this, Faith. I am sincerely interested in learning more and seeing how that can also work for not just you, but I think for it's something that would go a long way in removing a lot of email conversations
Yeah.
and breaking transmission, if I would use that.
Yeah, I agree. Because that whole process is like the bulk of it. It's not like the bulk of it,
Yes.
it's like the main, because you're having a lot of conversations that would have been done if the process was automated. Like the person receives what Cardinal has, and you just click on it and say, "Oh, this is what I want. Book my ticket." La la la. Like it's easy. Yeah, it would be nice.
Okay, so some people already answered the question and dropped the question again for those that said it wasn't clear. Yemi said the last question is not clear, so I've dropped the question again. Then AZK said business travel is still worth it, irrespective of the cost. But we need to make travel more seamless and reduce the visa policy bottleneck. Then someone said go Faith. Victoria Adetola said go Faith. I think Faith, your network is having issues because you're not. Then Olayode said there is always some importance to putting a face to a person you are having a business conversation with. So I won't agree with taking off business travel. That is a very valid point too.
Yeah, it is actually very, very important.
He said again, I feel the best way would be to minimize travel to a minimum, and go on important trips like a final stage of sealing a business deal. Great
Yeah.
point too. Yes. Fred, I don't know if you heard the other reply he gave. Your network was kind of.
Yes, I
Did you
did.
hear?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So that is all for the answers that came in. I don't know if anyone still have any answers to drop. And Mr. Collins, if you have anything to add up to that question I dropped off it
I just want to say something
before we
concerning
round
the
up.
person that said the person that said something about final travel at the last stage of selling a business. The truth is that I think that is what we have now, unlike 2019, where we can go to Abuja with 30,000, right? But now you can basic 150,000 most times cannot even 19, and these days is just too much. So now it's not just about traveling on travels, a conversation around what is inside, whether this travel is essential or not. And that is where the automation comes in, so that if you are dropping a travel request, the system can easily throw it out if it is not essential, or
Yeah.
and only the essential side of it can easily pass application flow. So that
Is Mr. Collins' side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Is it back? Okay, it's
no
back.
more replies are coming now. So we've come to the end of this live section. This has been a very great convo between Faith and Mr. Collins. I enjoyed this section actually, the laugh and the jokes, and I actually learned a lot from Mr. Collins. You guys did so great. I wish you
Thank
could book
you.
a retreat to continue this, but economic my. So thank you for sharing your experience, your stories, life, and to the audience. Thank you for throwing your insights. I don't know if anyone on section on the audience have a question to ask any one of us. give you a few guys, while I round up, I'll give you a few guys time to ask your questions. Don't forget to follow GoKardinal, learn more business tips, business travel tips rather, and smarter solutions, because you need to work smarter in 2025. Nobody wants to work harder anymore. It doesn't pay. Because nobody should actually be crying over trip planning in 2025, because funny enough, this is the best time to be alive, because AI is actually making everything so easy for us.
Yeah.
So no more questions are coming up. That would be all. We'll see you guys again on another section of Travel Talk with GoKardinal. And until then, plan you smart, stay stress-free, and may all you travelers remember to send your receipt on time. Faith has gone off the line. So bye everyone.